The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. I have this really cool Magic Show playmat to give you the ability to support the show and have something cool to show for it. This type of support allows me to buy equipment and go to different shows and places and bring you more cool stuff that you enjoy week in and week out. So I've been doing this for a couple years, get plenty of people asking me, how can I help you? How can I support the show? Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Check out StarCityGames.com and pick up your Magic Show playmat today.
This is Gerard Chief Fabs Fabiano, and welcome to the Magic Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. This week we're looking at some fantastic new Worldwake spoilers along with my very own Kalastria Highborn. She's cheap, she's rare, and she's absolutely kick-ass. We've also got a whopping 9 other spoilers to share. Let's go! So this go around, Wizards of the Coast sent me a batch of spoilers, and one fell swoop I got to see all of the mechanical spoilers, a few more pooled spoilers given to various outlets, then my spoiler for this week and next week all in one go. So let's take a look at the already known mechanical spoilers first. I'm just kidding. What am I, nuts? I got an exclusive spoiler, by God, it's front and center, and Kalastria Highborn is one bad mamma jamma. I kinda got burnt on War and Instigator, but I feel like one day I might be avenged. 1 or 2 kick-ass goblins and you got yourself a killer chase mythic. They may even be in Worldwake, so he could live up to the expectations I had for him, and they were pretty freaking high expectations. Which makes it a bit bittersweet when Wizards drops the sweet loving bomb card on my doorstep, and I want you to believe me when I say this girl will be expensive and wanted by many a player. But I will let the card speak for itself. Mostly. Her name, Kalastria Highborn. She's a badass, just so you know. And her mate there, oh, he's a null, on a leash. Why? Because she's a badass, that's why. And badasses have nulls on leashes. And she's only 2 black mana, not a legend, and is a solid 2/2 grizzly bear in power and toughness. Pretty good so far. But she's rare, so she's got to have the ability to really dazzle. And if you're a vampire player, like Eric Palmer-Duca, who won last weekend's Star City Games Open Series 5K in Dallas-Fort Worth, you just got your next year's Christmas present early. Here's what she does. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, vampires just got real. As if they weren't taken seriously before, this powerhouse tribe is going to be kicking some serious ass. And with their own 2/2s for 1 mana, the most incredible 3-mana creature printed in a hell of a long time, a 2/1 that can never die, a kick-ass lord, a 5-drop flyer that is Baneslayer-proof, a cruel lady on a stick, and here comes Kalastria freaking Highborn all up in this business. As a vampire, that makes herself and all of your other vampires into walking, talking copies of Siphon Life for a single black mana when they die. Did I mention Grim Discovery has begun to see a lot of play as well? Untapping with Kalastria is a wondrous experience where you don't really have to play any more creatures if you got 3 or more on the board. With 3 mana open, you're suddenly looking at 6 additional life that can not only safely play around mass removal such as Wrath of God or Earthquake, you can benefit from them. Suddenly their 2 damage Earthquake dealt them 8 while you gained 6 life. Now that's a tempo swing. This girl is not playing around. And how about a little Blood Chief Ascension? How about them questy apples? I've always been a big fan of Blood Chief Ascension, and this is another powerful card that can easily trigger by either swinging in the red zone or siphoning life upon a removal spell. And can you imagine multiples? They kill a creature, you pay 2 black mana, and then you gain 4 and they lose 4? Seriously? Wow, this girl makes vampires look even more appealing for both its flavory goodness and its ability to completely rock an opponent's world. It was demonstrated that the big bad state's dominator, known as Jun, couldn't stand up to the vampire heat, bested by the new tribe on the block that got their own version of Rotlung Reanimator. All I know is this is a gift for a deck that didn't really need a gift, but as all things get more powerful over time, I can only imagine Jun's answer to this little lady. Not that they don't have plenty of answers already, and a 2/2 for 2 mana isn't going to be setting any records, but her power is not intrinsic, but rather synergistic, basically meaning that she's not the best top deck, but she is the best turn 4 or 5 play when you got dudes smashing in the red zone that turn, and you want to get value out of them. So that's Kalastria Highborn. Man, is she great! Feel free to share your thoughts in the feedback. But how about some more spoilery goodness? Check out another sweet black rare, Quest for the Nile Stone. First of all, as with all quests, this is a pretty horrible top deck. However, it is only horrible if you have nothing to back it up. Reaping this on turn 4, then playing Blightning to take their last 2 cards is a whopping 8 damage. And once this thing is active, the card they draw after that play better be damn good or they're going to lose 5 life for it. Another important factor is that it triggers on each of your opponent's upkeeps for the rest of the game. Note that the ability goes on the stack regardless of whether or not it's active or if they have no cards in hand, so playing Esper Charm to force them to discard their hand while the ability is on the stack and active will still make them lose 5 life. It's no secret that Blightning is one of the best, if not the best spell in Standard right now, able to determine the Jund Mirror in a single bound. This spell makes Blightning even better, if that was even possible, and other support cards like Duress, Tidehollow Sculler, and Mind Rot play very well right alongside it. Also remember that Nyxathid was unveiled in Conflux, and this quest should fit perfectly in that deck. Looking past this spell, we see Join the Ranks, what is sure to be a powerhouse surprise in the blue-white ally draft deck. This card enables multiple ally triggers in a single spell, making your Umara Raptors insane, giving your guys protection with Cabiria Evangel, gaining a ton of life from Ondu Cleric, and more. This spell is a windmill slam for those playing the blue-white archetype or allies in general. Expect it to be highly ranked when it's time to focus on what Worldwake does to Zendikar Draft and Sealed. Up next is Vastwood's Zendikon. Now, I don't know what a Zendikon is, but I'm guessing it's a Zendikarian for land that whoops up all up on your face. This new cycle brings an unexpected twist on land auras. You see, the precedent for a cycle like this was laid in Champions of Kamigawa, that featured the Genju cycle, making your lands awesome creatures while saving the enchantment to fight on another day if said land was destroyed. This time, it's the land that's saved and brought back to your hand if destroyed, letting you trigger landfall all over again while getting an awesome creature in the meantime. Vastwood Zendikon is at its best when slapped on a fetch land, but any old land will do. However, Wind Zendikar looks fantastic and could be the basis for a blue-white aggro build in Standard or some sort of tempo monster in Extended. A single blue mana for a 2/2 flyer is no joke, even if it does effectively put you behind a mana each turn thereafter. The best part is when this evasive beater finally proves too much for them, you're getting that land back. Too cool. I'm also really happy this doesn't have the Genju restriction of a basic land type and instead can make any land awesome as need be. You know what creature I really loved from Guild Pack? Silhana Ledgewalker. Wouldn't it be awesome to have a Silhana Ledgewalker enchantment? Well, now we do. Canopy Cover. Canopy Cover essentially says, you must wrath me, as suddenly your creatures have Troll Shroud, as taken from Troll Ascetic, meaning you can still use pump spells like Vines to the Vastwood, or enchantments like Gigantiform, while your opponent can't block it with their plethora of ground guys and will scramble to find an answer. It has the same problems inherent in all creature auras, i.e. the creature will most likely die upon targeting, but if it sticks, your opponents will be seriously squirming. Moving on, Wizards of the Coast unveiled a few mechanic spoilers as well. The first one I want to talk about is Mysteries of the Deep. Now this is an interesting number. It's very rare that Wizards prints pure instant speed card draw. Normally it's tacked on a counterspell or some other conditional effect. The most efficient card drawing spell in Extended is Thirst for Knowledge, and even that isn't a pure card drawing spell as it requires a discard of some sort. For a while we once had Careful Consideration rocking Standard, and drawing a whopping 4 cards on just 4 mana at instant speed, also with a discard drawback. And now we get Mysteries of the Deep. 2 cards guaranteed, 3 if you're landfalling it. Now at first I thought this spell was the sweetness. I thought our troubled days were gone and this would refine what instant speed card draw would look like in our new Standard. Then I came to my senses. This spell is actually very, very bad. Let's count the ways. First, it is 5 frickin' mana, and a choice between playing Baneslayer Angel or playing this on your turn ain't no choice at all. 2. It is difficult to trigger on an opponent's turn. There are all sorts of ways to trigger landfall on your opponent's turn, but only 2 really matter in Constructed. fetch lands, or Harrow. And with Harrow, you need an accelerant if you want to play it on turn 5, which is none too quick, and means you will be doing essentially nothing on your opponent's turn 5 or 6, depending. Sandbagging fetch lands mean you have to play them and pass, and then not use your mana for anything on their turn, but waiting until they're in step to crack your fetch land and play your draw spell. This means not countering spells or removing creatures or any of that fun stuff that actually, helps you win the game by interacting with your opponent. Number 3. Mind Spring is just better. Hell, Tidings is way better, but we don't get Tidings no more. If you're playing this during your turn, you should have just played Mind Spring. It will always give you 3 cards for 5 mana, regardless of whether you've played a land this turn, and will give you even more in the late game. Stop trying to be cute with a 5 mana instant divination and just be happy that we have a Baneslayer of some sort in the format. Now, if this spell had said landfall, if a land entered the battlefield this turn, instead of a land you control entered, then this would be worthy of serious playtesting and consideration. But as of right now, I'm positive this won't be replacing Thirst for Knowledge or even Careful Consideration's previous stature in any format. Next up is Ruthless Coldblade, and I don't know how often you draft Zendikar, but I'll wear that format out. And let me tell you, Black-Red is some good and will kick your butt right between your shoulders if you're not careful. But now we have the best 2-drop this side of Surikar Marauder, the second cousin removed on the mother side of Guldraw's Vampire. When your opponent is bloodied, aka half of their starting life is gone, this girl kicks it into high gear. Sure, it doesn't gain evasion, but it sure brings the beats. And speaking of bringing the beats, there's Skitter of Lizards, being all awesome and whatnot. I love this card because it feels so natural. Of course you should be able to kick the card multiple times, and this card is brilliant in displaying this concept on a subtle and easy to grasp level. I dig how this guy would be unplayable as a 2-mana, 3-red, 3/3 haste creature, where only mono red touches that mana cost, but it will very often be cast for that exact cost, allowing the mountain-flooded black-red player a powerful surprise from the top of their deck. I look forward to more jump out and get ya monsters with multi-kick as well. Lastly is a spoiler that was not on the visual spoiler last Wednesday, and is called Dread Statuary. Now, this is quite the interesting manland. First of all, it's colorless, so unlimited, feel free to windmill slam this as it goes into pretty much any deck in the format. Secondly, it's a powerful manland, providing 4 power for just 4 mana, and could be just the type of reach that red deck wins and other monocolored beatdown decks are looking for. When you run out of regular plays, activate your land and bash forth. The same reason you'd run Get to Encampment or Blinkmoth Nexus. The difference, of course, is cost. 4 other mana lying around is pretty steep for a beatdown deck, but a 4/2 on demand is no slouch either. What do you think? I'll tell you what I think. I think Worldwake is still ripe with possibility. I, for one, am stoked that Vampires is not just a deck, but soon will become a force to be reckoned with in the metagame. And next week, I've got quite the killer card as well. It's my favorite kind, the kind that sneaks up on you as to how good it is. I'll do my best to convey the power in a seemingly okay card next week. And until then, viva la Worldwake! Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
But in the end, make the same mistakes all over again. Come on now, we are North American strong. We're from North America.
I always like the fatties.